For some analysis, let's bring in Kaveh Madani, a prominent environmental scientist, educator and activist, and the director of the United Nations University Institute for Water, Environment and Health. And he joins me from Toronto. Kaveh, once again, welcome to the program. Let me begin with COP30 climate conference going on in Brazil. How significant is this $300 million commitment, given, I believe the commitment was by 35 philanthropies? Is this significant? Of course, you and I both know making the commitment is one thing, following through with it is a whole different story.
Yes, and on top of that, the value of the commitment and the magnitude of the funds you put out there should be meaningful if we want a significant change. Although this is a small success, it won't be won't have any significant impact unless this can trigger larger commitments. We know that globally, many governments in the global north have decided to cut on their contributions to international development and the aid programs around the world. Also the UN and UN agencies and the different mechanisms and processes. So having some commitments, some movements can act like a booster, but it's something of this size is not going to be a game changer for sure.
And the fact that the United States, the most powerful country in the world, the biggest economy in the world, is not there, what kind of message does that send to the rest of the world?
We know that essentially the new policies of the United States have weakened the Paris Agreement and the cooperation around it. It's not only affecting the atmosphere of the negotiations, but also the willingness of many other nations to not be there, or if they're there, they won't act seriously. So the ambition has been significantly affected. It is absolutely necessary for the world's biggest economy and one of the ones that is most accountable for the state of climate today because of its historical responsibility to be there and take action. Unfortunately, that's not something that we can control.
Kaveh, let me move on to Iran, which is facing an unprecedented drought and severe water crisis. Around 19 major dams across the country are essentially drying out. Things are especially bad in Tehran, the capital. Of course, drought and climate change are part of the problem, but they're not the only issues.
Yeah, so we have never seen some of those cities like this. Tehran is the most populous, is the richest, and the most politically powerful city of Iran, with about like 15 million people in the metropolitan. We've never seen in Tehran like this. When there is water shortage, we first cut water from the environment, the voiceless stakeholder, then farmers and people in the rural areas, then industries, and then it comes to the city. The fact that it has reached a powerful city that has had any resource possible to make sure that it won't face the state is really scary. It's frustrating to see Tehran in this situation, and people are very confused, both the government and the general public, and they're in the 6th year of a drought. The new water year started in October, but so far there is no rain. Everything is dry.
President Masoud Pezeshkian has suggested if no rain comes by next month, Tehran, Kaveh, a city of more than 10 million, would have to be evacuated. How is that even possible? Where are these people supposed to go?
It is not. Like we learned it during the, I think, the Israel war and attack to Iran, when President Trump also put something on social media asking the population of Tehran to evacuate soon. He was educated about that. I was not expecting this from the president of Iran. He doesn't require education about evacuation being a mission impossible. A city of that scale cannot be evacuated. Plus, you got to think about where they go, and if the whole country is dry, how would that resolve the issue fundamentally? But I guess he wanted to convey the seriousness of the issue. And you know, people don't understand still, I think, how serious this issue is. And we're talking about days and weeks of water left. No forecast that is promising, no prospect of a change. Reservoirs that are completely dry, and the groundwater aquifer is not doing well. So all of these combined, it's right now the future of the Iranians is in the hands of skies and nature. And
So,
this is so, you know, that's why they feel so desperate.
but Kaveh, how did we get here? Is the problem also overconsumption? Is it outdated and dilapidated infrastructure?
So this is a situation that I've named for many years of water bankruptcy, and it's a stage post the water crisis stage where there is still hope of you know, the problem being temporary and mitigation being possible. In a bankruptcy mode, first thing you need to admit is that consumption is more than the available water. That is even more limited than before because of climate change and frequent droughts. So you got to focus on reducing consumption, and you have to understand that some of the damages are irreversible. Many of the wetlands that you have destroyed, the land that has subsided already, the sinkholes, and many other damages are going to be there. That's the underlying problem, rooted in mismanagement, is in misgovernance, lack of foresight, not appreciating water as a limit to growth, and being ambitious or maybe naive about how much you can do by investing in engineering solutions and infrastructure and moving water and building reservoir and so on. But then on top of that, we have a paralyzing drought across the nation, something that could have created pressure and problems anywhere in the world, but you know, this is now the problem of a country that has already gone through a war, has already been is already suffering from sanctions. Its economy is not in a good shape, and now the nature is against it. I would say it's all the odds against the Islamic Republic, and now what's happening is worse than, I think, the bombs that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu were trying to use to damage Iran. The nature is now more destructive.
All right, Kaveh Madani, thank you so much.